Hi, everyone. So I said I would do a quick video on Netflix. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to actually capitalize on this company that I'm sure all of you are subscribed monthly to? I bet it would. So I'm going to show you how you can capture a high volatility play such as Netflix to find and spot that bottom range support after months of chop, right? You're finding that bottom range support, that nice base. You're looking for that longer term entry for a swing position. You're spotting pattern recognition. You're looking for the key days that it breaks, because that matters too, especially if you're playing options, right? Because then that's another way of capitalizing on your position, where you can actually go ahead and day trade these things, right? On the days that it breaks, like right there, I day traded Netflix that day, I day traded it today, right? We're taking it long, various combinations of things, and we're only going to use monthly levels. That's it, that's all, okay? So for starters here, you know, I was looking at Netflix back in here. It looked like a daily cup and handle to me. I mentioned that I want to take that swing long, waiting for that to form up. That was around right in here on the 11th. So I was really prepared for it, okay? And I'll tell you why, specifically the 11th. Look at that beautiful hammer that it made there, right? Look at that 5-day regain. This was my cup. This was my handle. Clearly, this is the handle breaking out of this cup, right? And then this week was that cup break. So let's get started here. We're going to start looking at that monthly chart. So first off, we want to find, well, how did we know it was going to bottom in this range right here, right? How do we know that? Look at how much it chopped up from January, April, all the way down post earnings. Technically, you know, how do you know it's not going to come, you know, possibly down here or a little bit further down? There is ways to know that, right? A lot of it has to do with one, market sentiment. So sentiment more recently was a lot more bullish on tech time. I didn't see many of you guys look at that video, but I mentioned it 2 weeks ago. This is exactly what I was referring to here. Skip over to that monthly chart. We'll dive right in. All right, so for starters here, first thing I'm seeing on this monthly is, wow, look at this tweezer from that bottom up. This is a perfect looking formation, likely on a quarterly chart. So that was your big break over 2020, right? End of 2019 into 2020. And then you hit that bit of a top. Oops. And it almost looked like it was making a bear flag down, right? So it definitely made a bit of a tweezer top here. Not very level, but still a top. Had that shooting star, right in here. And then it really held in. So this spot here strikes me as being strong. Okay, that's strong support, because that shooting star down, okay, don't you think it technically could have taken down all these sticks on a quarterly chart, right? Because look at this. This is one quarterly stick. This is a second one, right? Technically, it could have taken down that 454 low, but it didn't. It held in strong. And then all the way to end up making this beautiful mini flag here and going. You can see here, that was a failed flag break on the monthly, right? Back in February, brought it back down lower, but all of it respecting this really key spot. So, okay, so I'm noticing that, I'm noticing that price action. This to me is a key level, okay? That to me reads, that's key. So I'm gonna skip back over to that daily. I wanna see, how did price react to those levels there? This is my base for my cup. Well, to me, it looks like it reacted pretty nicely, right? So that 478.87, not a single stick closed below that spot, right? Held up right above it. Noticing some higher lows forming there. This is great. That's exactly what you want to see when something's forming a base, right? Another thing you want to see is a decrease in that volume, right? You don't want this thing to be shooting up volume up and down when it's forming a base. You want it to be pretty subtle. You see how subtle that volume is there? So perfect. We found our base. You could technically take it long there on a swing if you wanted to. Let's say, for instance, if you were swinging some commons longer term, that's a pretty solid base there, right? In terms of options, preferably for myself, I like waiting for those handles, right? I like waiting for the handle to form, the shakeout to happen. This is the shakeout here, right in here. It's shaking people out. This is where people got psyched out on that bear flag down. Look at that bear flag on that daily down, right? Huge sell side volume there on that stick. and then boom, look at how much the volume died off on that handle. That's what you want to see. So when I'm looking at this on the 11th and 12th, I'm seeing this beautiful hammer, that 5-day regain. This is looking good. Okay, so I'm entering there, but how did I know that this was going to be the handle? That matters too, right? And how did we know this was going to be the top of the cup, besides just kind of visually seeing it there? Like clearly by looking at this chart, you can kind of see that end meet, right? Where those ends meet. So let's take a look here. All right, so skipping back over to the monthly here, we're going to do this a little bit backwards in reverse. So the idea here, before we find that support range right in here to see where our handle wants to technically sit off, right? And you can actually see that shooting star right up in there when it was forming that base. We want to figure out, why did it stop right here, right? Like I know visually I can see that cup, but maybe other people can't see that. So I'm already kind of expecting that. And you can see how it closed just below that. What's another way that you can spot that resistance there, right? Like you want to make sure it hits on multiple occasions. So just by glancing at that daily there, well, I know for sure it's kind of aligning with these upper wicks here, and you can see it hits on multiple occasions. So I know that upper wick is strong, and look at that. You see how that was the high there, right? Perfect. I've hit my top end cup, right where those ends meet. Now I'm waiting patiently for my handle to form. Okay, so where's my handle going to form, right? Like I need to know where this handle is forming here. I want to buy the handle. I want to see if this is going to hold some key levels. And just by glancing here, I mean, you can definitely see that that was some major support there based off of where this shooting star was, right? You see that right off that daily. So that's another way of using that, right? You can use the daily level. So I can put that on there just from that shooting star. That's going to be my one support range, but we're going to use that monthly. So just by kind of guiding that line there. So clearly on the monthly, there was a ton, right? A ton of support in this range there. So skipping right back over here, I want to see if it held that support range, and it did. Look at these candles up. You see how the first one kind of held that very exact spot. Second one made a higher low. That's exactly what we want to see, just like we saw down here, right? Those higher lows. There's my highest low off that hammer. Okay. Volume is decreasing. It's almost gone. You're starting to see some green again. This is your sign. And look at when it regained that 5-day. So that's another strategy that I use there. This is great. Okay, so how do I know here though? And you can actually see, look at how strong that spot was from back here when it failed. You see that? Out of that same exact bear range, right? You're going back in time from right here. This is from October of 2020. Same exact spots hit, right? So you want to see, okay, you're taking a long position here, but how do you know the days to actually day trade it? So you're entering your swing here. This is your cup. This is your handle. Life is good. Okay. How do you know how long it's going to take to break, right? Is it going to be a number of days? Market sentiment has a lot to do with it. When did it actually regain? So August 13th, right? That's on a Friday. So ideally, you definitely want this to have some follow through the next week, right? Because now it's going to be a new week. How do you spot that open here, right? You can actually see, even just by looking on that daily, right? This is kind of a strong spot there where it's stuck. This little wick right here is actually where that continued break happened, but we're using just that monthly. So skipping right back to that monthly here, right? We want to see where that broke. So we want to have a pretty good range of where that kind of 521 sort of spot was on that monthly. And you can really see it, like it's super strong, right? So I'm going to delete that there. And you're just kind of following that same exact range. So look at this 521, right? I can definitely see that big range right here. There's definitely some wicks right up in here. So this is a really strong spot, right? You can see that. Do you see that? What's the highest range on there? Look at that. Do you see that there? Well, let me go back a little bit here. Multiple range there, right? Really strong on that spot. Do you see this open? So it got really stuck below that spot there. It actually even hit it to almost to the penny the day before. Look at where it opened that day. This is the day it broke. When it broke that monthly level, I was like, okay, this could be the day that Netflix starts to break out of that handle. Okay. And it was. but you can obviously see it failed. So where did this thing fail? Where did it fail, right? You're going back to that monthly chart. Again, same exact spot. You want to see why it failed on that given level on that monthly. Clearly, there's a lot of strong resistance up in there. We already talked about that. But how would you have spotted it failing right back down in here, right? Well, obviously, there's some resistance right up in there, but it went a little bit more than that, right? A little bit above that spot. Do you see that there? Do you see how strong that spot is right in there? Right? What did I say first thing? Our highest all-time high close is 540.73, right? That wick on that was 545.50. We didn't close above that, right? We broke that stick. We never closed above that upper wick. What was our highest all-time high close? Right at that 545.75. So that's a failure to close over that key spot and break. And you can see how strong it was there. So that was the failure on the highest all-time high close, okay? That's where it failed at highest all-time high open, sorry, not close. The highest all-time high open was 545.57. Even though it broke that wick, this is your clue, right? Where did this thing back test? So this is how you know it's holding, right? Look at where it back tested. Do you guys see that there? So let me clear the chart. We're going to just leave this from scratch here, right? We're now just working our way out of that handle. Look at this. This is your highest all-time high close, your highest all-time high open, and that wick on your highest candle close, right? Ever on Netflix. Do you see that there? Look at that. Look at where it failed, right? It couldn't close over that spot, but it gave you that little hint. It gave that higher wick. Look at when it back tested. Do you see this here? Look at this. Look at this open here, right? Right over that spot. Ever since Netflix had that break here, it respected the all-time high wick on the highest all-time high close, okay? It never came back below that. And that's the highest all-time high open, right? Your open and your close. The open is the 5.7, that wick was the 50, the close was the 540.73. Never even came back below it. So at this point, okay, now you're entering this new week, this new month. You obviously had a beautiful cup and handle breakout. You're seeing this little mini bull flag. Netflix is respecting the highest all-time high open and close, right? It's not even coming anything below that. You can see that there. You're getting this nice continuation here. And this is what I call weekly wick filling. So now you're just filling the weekly wicks. That's it. There's nothing left here. You're just going to fill these weekly wicks. That's exactly what Netflix started to do, right? And look at where it got stuck in that range. And then there was that big break. So this was Friday. This was your clue on Friday. Do you see this? Those three wicks, it got stuck in that range right in here, took out those spots. And where did it take out specifically? That strong point, right? That 55754. Notice how that was that main point of resistance. So you're coming into a new week. You already know that you're looking above that really strong spot. You've got some upper wicks to go with, right? You're continuing. Look at the open today, right? Like look and see where Netflix opened today. At this point, you're essentially above that highest spot, right? You get that really nice clean open. You don't really have much left to work with anymore, right? This is what you call weekly wick filling, except in this one, this is monthly wick filling. So you were able to spot the bottom, right? To find support. You were able to spot the exact top where that cup end meets, where it's going to fail on that one-day break, where it's respecting it, where it held that strong line, right? It never came back lower. And when it finally made that big break, both times, right? Back down there and back in here. Both times you're finding where it made that big break, right? So right back down in here, right in here. You see that big break? Perfect. Support right at that channel that it was making down there. Perfect. The handle, right? You find the handle support range there too. Perfect. So all you really needed were these 4 levels here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on that big break, so that's just your extra wicks. So sometimes it really can be that easy if you really, really pay strong attention to detail, right? And you're focused on market timing, market sentiment, tech was bullish, Qs were bullish, right? We have the Qs kind of making a really, really nice formation on that weekly, coming out of that monthly formation too. There's that there's that weekly flag on the Qs. We're going to pull up XLC. XLC had something very similar there. And that timing of the market is strong, right? This is how you get that really, really big break. As long as you respect price action will respect you. So that's my Netflix play. If you guys like this video, make sure that you're hitting that like and subscribe. Thanks, everyone.